How good is ChatGPT 4.0 at analytics? It's supposed to be a lot better. Well, join me. Today we're going to look at a chart from More in Common. It's a complicated chart. Can ChatGPT redraw it? Can ChatGPT analyze the data and tell me if it's good insight? Let's find out. Okay, let's explore revisiting data using ChatGPT 4.0. So this chart from More in Common and Luke Trill and the team asks, suppose that the government, Labour forms a government, how soon do you expect that government to make an impact from the policies? And each party is broken down. So you've got the Conservatives. 17% of Conservative voters expect a Labour government to make a difference immediately. This bar on Labour voters, 17% expect them to do it within less than 6 months. If they're a Reform voter, it's 21 months immediately, 19% within 6 months, and 13% never. The Tory voters never expect a Labour Party to make an impact. So that's how those work. It's an interesting chart because it's really hard to parse. Let's see what happens if we use ChatGPT to rebuild it. So first, can you transcribe the data from this chart? First, we'll just ask, can we transcribe data from an image we upload to ChatGPT? The answer is yes. This is pretty good. Is it? Let's see how good it is. Okay, so right, it's formatting it as a table. That's nice. Let's do it 17, 22, 23, 14, 7, 1, 1. 17, 22, 23, 14, 7, 1, 1. 17, 22, 14, 7, 1, 1, 14. Okay, so doing the data check on the Conservatives, that is correct. Now, so at this point in the recording, that data transcription looked amazing, but I've just gone and I've spent the last 20 minutes trying to transcribe the data again just to see if it actually works reliably. And now you can see 5 or more Conservative voters is 11 and never is 14, whereas it's 1, 1, 14, and it's gone 1, 11, 14. Also, we've got a problem down on Reform, 16, 4, 4, 4, 13, 16, 4, 4, nothing, maybe 1 or 2, 13. So in this case, going back again, it's actually transcribed the data incorrectly. I've tried to ask ChatGPT to do it correctly about 7 or 8 times. It's failed each time, even with me going, you're getting this wrong. So this is a real problem because it looks powerful, and this is a small chart. If you do this on a big data set, you've got a big risk of getting completely the wrong data. Nice. Right. Let's ask, what do you think of the original chart? Is it the best chart to explain the story? Right. Yeah, this is hard. I suspect it's going to give me fairly vanilla best practice annotations. Perhaps it can tell me it's a really complicated way of visualizing the data. So it's a stack bar conveying explanations. It's even suggesting improvements. I didn't ask for suggestions, but here we go. Now, what's interesting, my expert type, I did think let's do a grouped bar chart because I actually think this is all right. So let's see what it's told me. It's a stack bar conveying the expectations, how they would vote. Right, so that's fine. So we've got clear segmentation, detailed breakdown, and a summary. Yes, it likes the all category. Let's go back. Here's the all category here. This is quite good. So you can see about 50% expect, give them a year to make an impact. It's too complex. The colour's no good. Legend's difficult. The legend is difficult. Yeah, the legend is hard. The legend's up here, which is a bit difficult because you've got to parse it, you've got to do a lot of movement. But because of the colour scheme, I would say once you've learned the palette, it then becomes understandable. And then simplify groups. Okay, I'm going to ask it to redraw it as a grouped bar chart. But first, let's see, what insights does the chart contain? So the insights I can see are that if you're not a Labour voter, you're slightly more pessimistic, where you have a high expectation of delivery of policies, and you might expect no results ever. In fact, what we're going to do is stick ChatGPT here. So we can, wow, okay, that's too long. General insights. A significant portion of voters expect to see changes within 6 months to a year. Fine. Conservative voters, right, it's, okay, it's given me a fairly detailed summary. That's actually pretty good. And then the overall insights. Most voters expect to see changes. Labour voters are the most optimistic. Conservative and Reform show more scepticism. Timing of change. Immediate change is expected by a smaller portion of voters across all groups, indicating a general understanding that policy impacts take time. All right, that's great. Yeah, that's pretty useful. Right, so let's try. Oh my lord, I can't type. Redrawing the chart as a grouped bar chart with a better colour scheme. Go. Oh, you don't press enter, do you? You press Control Enter or click the button. So a grouped bar chart I think might be better. I don't know if it's going to be better actually, because it just will depend on what it looks like. If I was using Tableau, I'd be dragging and dropping, trying all sorts of things out just to see what I think. Now we have this challenge. I'm sitting around waiting for nothing's happening. I'm bored. In the real world, when I do this, if I'm not recording, now I go off and look at X, look at the news, and it's a real challenge with GPT. It's fast. It's really fast, but it's still disruptive. I don't get a sense of flow, and while it's doing something, there's no use of my skills. I'm just sitting here dormantly waiting for something to happen. So right, okay, blah 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 blah. That's good. Where's the chart? Where is it? Well, there's the analysis. Oh, I see. Oh, ugh, it's gone rainbow. Right, what's going on? Oh. Interesting. Let's go full screen. So what it's done is it's created each group around this, but then, okay, so I would have put the party and grouped the responses there. What we could do, I'm going to see if I can change this to use the colours for the party. So Conservative blue, Labour red, Libs yellowish, Reform is about right, and Green would be green. And change the colour scheme to reflect the colours of each party as based on their UK party colours. Is it Control Enter? It is Control Enter. So now I'm going to expect the same chart, which I don't really like actually. I want the grouping to be the other way. But let's see if it can at least create a chart and pick up the colours of the parties without me specifying them. That might show us well, Labour red, Labour yellow. What? I can do it myself. Labour, Lib Dems orange, Reform teal, green, green. Right. This is one of the big challenges. It said, look, here's my text going, I can do it right. And then it actually did it wrong. I'm going to exclude the all category and draw it again using the current colour scheme. The all is useful, but I'm just trying to tease and see if we can get down to a better view of this chart. All right. Whoa. The official UK party colours for... See, look. Yeah, Labour yellow. See, this is the really frustrating thing about AI, right? If it's going to work, it just should blimmin' work. So let's go. Let's do it again. Labour, red. Lib Dems, orange. Right, that's good enough. So, does this actually improve our readability of the chart? Let's go back side by side. So immediately, let's look at the Conservatives, right? We can see that immediately their bars are higher at this end, immediately 6 months to a year, and then really high. Lots of them just think it's never going to happen. Oh, let's change the reform colours. Reform is similar. Reform and the Conservatives are high in terms of thinking about never, whereas the Labour government, so the people who are going to vote Labour, actually have higher bars in the distant future. So Labour voters are giving Labour a bigger pass. Is it easier to see that in this chart than it is in this chart? I'm not convinced it is. I think More in Common did land on the right chart type. Let's see if I can get it to invert the grouping. So party is on the x-axis and time is on the y-axis. Invert the way the groups are shown. Put party on the x-axis and time expected in the groups. You see, I don't even know what the language is to describe that. I also don't know what field it called it. So I'm giving it a vague instruction here. I'll be quite impressed if it can pull this off. Wow, I'm bored. This is 20 seconds. So this is also one of the problems in that it's taking too long. That's not right. What's it done? Immediate Conservative. Immediately. Why? Well, ChatGPT, you got it wrong. You've done 4 immediatelys. I guess. No. Okay, well that's where I got to in 12 minutes in ChatGPT. Let's see what happens when I do the same exercise in Tableau. Okay, let's try playing around in Tableau. See how quickly we can build this chart in Tableau. So I've transcribed the data. I've already given default sort orders and colors to the fields, so that's saving me a little bit of time. So it's a bit of a cheat, hope you don't mind. Whoops. And then if we duplicate that, that's kind of the chart that More in Common built. You know, the legend is a challenge in the chart More in Common built. So we could put the time period on here, make this kind of small. And then you end up with something like this, where now it's a really complicated legend. And here, at least, I've got the time period in the mark itself. Now, that's good. But then when you build it, bring it into a dashboard, which I think is this is the one I just built. Let's just hide the title. I'm going to put the legend here. Make it single row. Get rid of the title. Format it so that things are smaller. Format legend, body. Let's make it tiny. The challenge is this is just a challenging chart to build, right? Once we make this entire view, now the labels are kind of too small. So it's just a bit of a challenge. It isn't a bad chart at all from More in Common. It's just a complicated concept to try and communicate. So there you go. That's kind of the chart as More in Common built. Pretty good, but it does take time to read. How else might I actually look at this? Well, I wanted this grouped bar chart. That was what I was trying to do in ChatGPT. Let's see if I can build it. So for that, I wanted party on each column, and then I wanted it broken down by time period. And I've actually got a different one here, so I'll put, right. I'll get rid of the labels. And this is kind of what I wanted to build, because now my hunch was, and I don't know if this is better or not, we can see the Conservatives voters have a high expectation that policy change will be fast, and that lots of them think that it'll never happen. And that's the same with the Reform. You know, here the blues are high. In fact, if we highlight the nevers, you can see the people who never expect Labour to succeed are Conservative and Reform voters, whereas Labour, Lib Dems and the Green Party all reckon 6 months to a year is about the time they want to do. Now, is this better though? You know, it's a complicated chart. It just is a complicated chart. What about a line chart? Well, we could put party on detail shelf. In fact, let's get rid of time party and put party on the colour shelf and turn this into a line. Now, this is ordinal data, so it's not so much of a crime to use this as for a line. It's a bit dodgy. Again, I'm still not seeing super insight. I can see all parties are giving this 6 months to a year spike. Let's make the lines a bit thicker so they're just a bit more obvious. And you can see the Reform and Conservatives. Now, what about some sort of Pareto chart? We could make this a running total. And how does that look like? If we break it down by party and just compute using... compute using time period. Let's put party back on the colour shelf as well. You know, we're not really seeing much insight here. So what's happening here is for each party, you're seeing the running total. So 17% expect an immediate response, 85% within 5 years, and then the final 15% of Tories are there. That is what I already pre-built. This is what it could look like if we tidied it up. My conclusion is, this is a hard chart to build. It's just a complicated chart. There's great insight in there, but it's a complicated chart. But that's how I might re-explore it in Tableau. So what do we think of ChatGPT 4.0's new analytics capabilities? Well, we tried to use this chart. This is a complicated chart. It contains great insight, but it is by its nature complicated. We've played around with it in ChatGPT and we've played around with it in Tableau. In Tableau, I trust the data because I'm in control. In ChatGPT 4.0, the challenge is the transcription of data is still dangerous. We saw that it still makes mistakes. You have to be really, really careful to triple check it. And that's hard if it's a big data set. The editable charts are looking really pretty now, right? You know, that formatting and the smooth lines look enticingly trustable, but it's still not trustworthy. So that nice formatting is a false sense of trust. ChatGPT 4.0 is giving you a particularly strong sense of power, right? It is always confident. It always gives you an answer and it looks nice. But its level of performance is still akin to a keen, but fundamentally not very good intern. Actually, that might be an insult to interns because interns are awesome and I love working with the interns we get at Tableau. 4.0, it's getting better. It still comes with massive, massive health warnings. All right? I'd love to know what you have done yourself with ChatGPT 4.0 analytics. Let me know.